Aloha and how's it? Today we're talking about taking the right action on LinkedIn, whether you're using LinkedIn to accelerate your career or grow your business. So, more on that in a minute. How was your weekend? We actually celebrated my husband's birthday with some friends at a small picnic get together, which was really fun and special. We like to keep it I would say not big crowds, little crowds, people that we know, and it was super fun. Also, this month has been a really neat month for us, I think, on the social front. We've had a lot of celebrations, lots of activities. So, really been enjoying August and the kids back to school, of course. And we had a little bump of swell on the North Shore, which was just enough energy to take out my twin fin, my board I love, and catch some fun waves and really feeling all the good vibes. It's so fun to see people that we know out in the surf, especially when we haven't seen each other in a few months because the waves have been kind of flat. So, super, super good vibes here on the North Shore. Have you checked out my latest episode on the Mango Effect podcast this week? We discuss how I go about learning new things by what I like to call an immersive learning process, which is a super fun topic because I'm always curious about learning something new. So I break down my process and I'm curious to get your thoughts if you are also a learnaholic. Plus, there are another dozen or more than that, dozens of other episodes up there if you want to hear about all things creating a life you love, being a digital entrepreneur, living in Hawaii, setting goals, becoming your own boss, and more. But now it is time for Mondays with Mindy. This is a weekly show on Monday afternoons, if you're based in the US, where I talk about all things LinkedIn pipeline, promo, and profiles, what I like to call the three P's of LinkedIn. So, do you have questions about LinkedIn that you want me to answer? Be sure to like this post whether you're watching live or from the replay. Leave your questions below, and I will answer them either after the show or on a future episode of Mondays with Mindy. I am currently planning my next quarter's worth of content. So please share your ideas, what you want to learn next, and I will make sure to include it in the content ideas. So let's get to today's topic. What does it mean to take the right type of action on LinkedIn? So last week we talked about connecting the dots on LinkedIn so that you can really put all the pieces together to create your own unique approach to using LinkedIn that actually works for you and your company. That leads us to today's topic to talk about how to get started with the right activities on LinkedIn. So many experts I talk to who refer to themselves as the industry's best kept secret are struggling to figure out what to do on LinkedIn at the beginning. So whether you're starting or restarting on LinkedIn, how do you go from being an invisible professional to becoming known as that go to expert in your niche or your industry? Too often, many people get into the tactics straight away and start Googling how to get started on LinkedIn. How do I update my LinkedIn profile? How do I grow my network? Every article is going to deluge you with more information than you could possibly implement with the time you have available. And then you're left with all of this how to content from experts that should help you. But in reality, it makes you feel even a little bit more overwhelmed than you did before. So, why do experts have to complicate LinkedIn? I mean, shouldn't it be a straightforward approach where you don't need to get into the weeds of understanding everything about how it works or have to become a total social media holic? Or a data scientist to untangle the algorithm, or a complete in your face salesperson who's so direct it just makes you gag. So if you've ever had these thoughts run through your head, I have too. It's LinkedIn can feel very overwhelming. Any new channel, for that matter, can feel like, oh, there's so much to learn. I don't even know where to start. Even as a professional who's been using LinkedIn consistently for more than a decade, I still feel like I cannot keep up with all the changes on the platform. And frankly, I don't need to. I only need to focus on what works for me and the dead simple and seemingly boring approach I use to get the results I want, what my clients want, and what my students are seeking. So, not to worry, LinkedIn is not as hard as experts make it out to be. If you've listened to any of these live streams, you've probably heard me talk about that. It's really about focusing on the right things, not all the things. So, those of us actually getting the results we want are not buried in data or how to books or paying through the nose for some high level strategic LinkedIn consultant on a regular basis. Getting started on LinkedIn is not difficult. I'm going to say that again. Getting started on LinkedIn is not difficult. If you know exactly what to focus on from the get go and you have a clear intention for how you want to use LinkedIn. All right, aloha. For those who don't know me, my name is Mindy Rosser. I'm the founder of Mindy Rosser Marketing, and I have a group program called the LinkedIn Accelerator for those who want to go from 0 to 60 on LinkedIn with their profile and network. We recently wrapped up the summer cohort, but I will keep you posted about when the doors open this fall. I'm super excited about the next cohort. We are making some changes based on feedback to the 5-day LinkedIn Accelerator program, so you'll definitely want to be kept in the loop. I help professionals who feel they are the best kept secret in their industry to become that go to visible expert in their niche so they can get that next opportunity, grow their business, and scale their impact on LinkedIn. In this live, we are going to talk about why not taking the right actions on LinkedIn is causing you to miss out on new opportunities and how you can get clarity on the best ways to use LinkedIn so that you can accelerate your business, kickstart the right relationships, and generate more leads. So, are you ready? Let's do this. I'm really excited about today's topic. Go ahead and like this post, whether you're live or watching from the replay, to give it some social love. So, one mistake that many people make when exploring LinkedIn as one of their ways to communicate with their tribe, to build expertise, strengthen their personal brand, whether they're inside a 9 to 5 job or running their own business, is that they need to spend a ton of time learning about LinkedIn and gearing up for it. There's this misconception that LinkedIn is a complete time suck. So they tend to play the comparison game. They're looking at other people in the field who have a bigger audience. Maybe they have more engagement on their post. They look amazing on LinkedIn. You're like razzle dazzled by their LinkedIn profile, and they seem to have it all together. Those thoughts of, how will I ever do that? I still have a job and I'm in my 9 to 5, or I don't have time to learn all of that. And do I even want to learn all of that to make LinkedIn work for me? I'm not a social media person. I don't have a lot of content. I don't need to fill my pipeline or get sales calls. So, what else is LinkedIn used for? So many of the experts that I talk with kind of discount LinkedIn until they need it. So it kind of sits there. They update it whenever they're getting a job, or maybe they listen to a live stream like this and say, okay, I'm going to do LinkedIn, but they don't actually can take that consistent action. They don't know exactly which right actions to take. So something happens in their business, or they have an aha moment and realize they want a new job, or they want to amp up their impact, or they want to start a new career path or write a book, and they need to use their LinkedIn profile because they've got a bazillion followers. Then they come to LinkedIn with this sense of urgency. You know what I'm talking about? OMG, I need a job like yesterday, or I have no sales and I need to get on some one on one calls. Can you help me, Mindy? The mistake is that they don't learn the basics of LinkedIn before they are put into a dire situation where it's like, I have to make this work or else. Nobody wants to be in that situation on LinkedIn. That desperation or urgent mindset comes across on LinkedIn. And if you are not careful, it could actually sabotage all of your efforts. You could be doing all of the right things, but if you feel a little bit desperate or a little too pushy or a little too salesy, what comes through on LinkedIn on the other end, the people that are receiving that message can tell. And they're going to go, it's a little pushy. Yeah, it's a little salesy. Are you just trying to push this on me? Or do you actually want to build a professional relationship? So on paper, you may be doing all the right things, but it's just not working for you. And you don't know why. So you cannot rush LinkedIn. It's a long game. It's not that hard to get started, like I mentioned earlier, and maintain if you do it well. But you cannot expect to share one LinkedIn post and land a number of 6-figure clients straight away. I have had some people come to me with that mentality that if they just posted content for a month, all of this inbound traffic would be coming to their site and hiring them. That's treating like that's treating LinkedIn like it is the lottery, which it isn't. So getting started on LinkedIn is like starting up a solid network. It's like building a business from the ground up. It's honing your skills as an expert in your field. LinkedIn is the place where professionals like you and me come to network with each other, explore doing good business with other good people, and focus on creating a better workplace and environment for ourselves and others. And this is how I approach LinkedIn. It's how I teach, it's how I coach my program members to see the platform, because LinkedIn is special. And when you treat it as such, you're not going to get sucked in by, I've got to do all these tactics or it's not going to be successful. I'm not even going to try LinkedIn because it seems like too much work. When it comes to LinkedIn, your intentions for the platform matter more than the tactics. So, what do we do to actually get started on LinkedIn? First of all, you have to start with your mindset. And I know that sounds a little fluffy to some of you, and also your intention for LinkedIn. It's one of the biggest things that I teach at the very beginning of my programs, too, is just what is your intention for LinkedIn, because that will shape everything you do on the platform. And too many people just take on other people's intentions that are not their own, that don't really matter to their business, but they don't realize it. And so they get started on a path on LinkedIn that would be successful, but that's not really their objective. Like, they're heading in the right direction for one objective, but it's not the objective they really, really want. For example, if you are trying to fill your sales pipeline on LinkedIn, but you heard that you should be posting all of this great content on LinkedIn. So you start posting content, trying to get a bunch of inbound traffic, and your sales pipeline is not getting filled. So you're doing the wrong tactics for a good objective if you're trying to become an influencer, but not the right objective if you're trying to fill your sales pipeline. So you have to match your tactics to the objective. So we've all heard of Simon Sinek's famous talk about finding your why, and that concept is also applicable to LinkedIn. If you're just getting started on LinkedIn because some expert told you to, you need to do some more thinking about the platform. Don't just hop into LinkedIn thinking, oh, it's going to work for me because I'm awesome. I have this great Rolodex of clients and people that I'm connected to. And all I need to do is just, post a few things and the money will come. It's not how it works. So you want to open your mind to resources about LinkedIn to figure out why people use LinkedIn, not just what they do on LinkedIn. So you want to try some different Google and YouTube searches if you're struggling to figure out why people use LinkedIn. You have to be clear on this first. You also need to think in terms of your target audience. Why does your target audience in particular use LinkedIn? What are they here to do? Because if you are giving them what they don't really want on LinkedIn, they're not going to pay attention. So I have a number of clients who come to me saying, I'm posting, going back to the content posting example, I'm posting all this content. I'm taking all my Instagram posts and repurposing it for LinkedIn. And, it's great and all, but I'm not getting that much engagement. We look at their target audience. Their target audience is like high level executives in the C suite. They're not going to pay attention to your content. You have to write a well written message, get through the gatekeeper that's keeping track of their LinkedIn account and their messages to actually get into a conversation with them. So posting your beautifully designed Instagram content is not going to get on their radar. So it makes no sense. Like, you should not be focused on so much on content posting if your people are not paying attention to the content in their feeds. So that's just one example, but just think through your audience. Do they like content? Do they like one-to-one messages? Do they like a blend of both? What is actually going to get through to them? You have to understand that first. So let's talk about getting started on LinkedIn without the overwhelm or wondering what to do next. So we're going to talk about 4 LinkedIn actions you can take right now to get started. First of all, you have to identify the reason you are using LinkedIn. Like, why are you here? Is it to grow your business? Is it to get more leads? Are you trying to build a strong personal brand? Are you wanting to land another job? Are you switching careers? Are you eager to start building your LinkedIn network with the right people? Is it something else entirely? The reason you are using LinkedIn will tell you exactly what you should or should not be doing on LinkedIn. If you just go back to the why, like Simon Sinek, why are you here? Then you will understand what to do next. For example, if you're here to find another job, then you might need to be posting a lot of content on LinkedIn, but your profile, you might not need to be posting a lot of content on LinkedIn, but your profile better look rock solid. That is critical if you are trying to land another job. Your profile matters much more than the content you are sharing. And I've seen a lot of job seekers try to treat LinkedIn like a marketer, and they're posting all this content. A lot of them are posting content about looking for a job, which looks a little bit desperate to me on LinkedIn as well. And it's kind of funny. It's like, you just want to reach out and say, don't post that. Spend more time on your profile, make it look awesome, because that's what really matters to you. So if you're here because you're building a new business and your audience is here, it may not be critically important that you start posting and engaging on LinkedIn. I see a lot of business owners make the mistake of posting too much content. I said, you don't have to post every day on LinkedIn. You should actually spend a lot more of that time in your one-to-one messaging, building actual relationships with people on LinkedIn instead. So you need to understand your reason, because it dictates the tactics and approach for you. So you're always matching your actions to your objectives. All right, so let's move on to step number 2. Optimize your LinkedIn profile to match the reason you are here. Okay, I know this makes sense. This is not rocket science. Your LinkedIn profile is like a mini website for you, especially if you're an expert with a 9 to 5 and you don't have a website. For those of you with businesses, many times people will still look you up on LinkedIn first before they even realize you do have a website. So don't be surprised if people find you here first rather than your website. Optimize your profile according to your reason for using LinkedIn, not just to look pretty or snazzy. I've come across a lot of pretty profiles and I'm like, oh, you hired some marketer to do this. It sounds nothing like you. This is not going to appeal to your target audience. It actually looks a little too slick. So your profile can look a little too slick. You want to think about your audience and what they're looking to find on your profile. Your profile sets the stage for every single interaction you are going to have with professionals and prospects on LinkedIn. So many of us shift our profiles over time because we go from wanting to land another job to starting a new business to wanting to get into one-to-one conversations with other professionals to building a personal brand. Your profile is always evolving. That's okay. But once you nail it one time, you will understand exactly what to do the next time you need to update rather than kind of haphazardly tweaking sections and hoping for the best. I've come across a lot of profiles, especially ones that I work on, where it's just kind of a hodgepodge of tactics all kind of mixed together. And the profile's like, I have no idea. In your headline, you're saying you're this. In your about section, it looks like a dated resume. Your experience sections are not up to date. So when you do that, you are not making it clear that you can be trusted. People are not going to know, like, and trust you if they come to your profile and it's completely kind of haphazard or out of date or you're not sure what you're doing. It's going to be obvious. You want to make sure that your profile is telling your professional story. Summing it up, your LinkedIn profile is your professional story. You get to tell it however you want to tell it and take pride in that story. All right. Number 3, start growing your network with the right people. If you've watched any of my other live streams, I talk about this a lot. Your network is really your most valuable asset on LinkedIn. So no matter what business you're in, which industry, or whether you have a corporate job or you're at a startup or you're freelancing and doing your own thing, you must build a solid network that is aligned with your current reason, again, the reason why you're here on LinkedIn. So if your network is also not aligned with why you're here, you're going to notice that people aren't engaging on your posts. They might not be responding to your messages, and you're going to notice that it's not having the impact it could. So see how everything kind of ties into that reason for using LinkedIn. What is your one reason for using LinkedIn? That is how you're going to build your network. So your network is your net worth. I think that's a Zig Ziglar quote, but I love that one because it is so true on LinkedIn. So no matter what happens with your current career, your job, your business, when you have a great network, you have people who can help you if you decide to make a shift and vice versa. So what goes around comes around. So really think about the people that are inside your network now. Are they current? Like, are they old connections that you've had for years? Do you continue to add connections to your LinkedIn network? Who is inside your network? Who do you need to add to your network? Or who do you need to prune from your network if you feel like there are a bunch of people in there that don't belong? So, really pay attention to your network on LinkedIn. It's a thing that people tend to not see, or they think, well, I've got 5,000 followers and connections. I should be good. Why are people not responding to me? Well, who are those people? Who are those individuals? Are they aligned with what you're doing now and what you want to do moving forward? All right. So finally, get started on LinkedIn. Like, take action on LinkedIn. I told you exactly what to do to get started. You are looking for the reason why you're on LinkedIn. You are optimizing your profile and you are building your network. Those are the foundational elements to LinkedIn. We can make it much more complicated. I have very complex sales funnels built out for a number of my clients where we're identifying people. We've got a lead generation hub. We have a research guide. We have content posts. We have a strategy. Yes, there are a lot of elements that can go into your LinkedIn program, but really what it boils down to, know your reason why you're here, optimize your profile, and start building your network. That will open the door to all the opportunities. So for those of you who feel confident with knowing what each of these 3 things actually entails and all of the how-tos involved, you can run with this advice and just take action. You're like, oh, okay, Mindy, it's really that simple. Yes, it really is that simple. For the rest of us, sometimes it's helpful to have a framework or someone helping us along the way to make sure we actually get it done and that it's done right and that we know what to do to maintain it. So if you feel like you're on that that end of the spectrum and need that accountability, find an expert that you trust on LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be me. You could be following a number of other people that are doing great work. I've come across so many of my peers who are really helping people in a wonderful way. So find somebody who resonates with you and you resonate with their approach and get that support. So if you're new to using LinkedIn, or you're trying to rethink your approach, it all starts with learning these three things. Nothing else to start. Don't make it more complicated than it is. Don't try to post every day or take on some LinkedIn challenge. Like I've been in a number of them, but like LinkedIn pods where everybody's commenting on each other's posts, that can get really overwhelming and noisy. Focus on what you need to do next. Your profile, the reason you're here, and building your network. So get that profile looking rock solid, start building your network, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. That's really all that matters when it comes to LinkedIn. And it's such a beautiful place. Kind of on that note, when it comes to LinkedIn, it's a special place. When we are here, we are in our professional mindset. We are not thinking about being entertained. We're not on TikTok dancing away. My partner and I were actually talking about this. He's like, Mindy, you've got to talk about that. On LinkedIn, it's not like you have to do a little clever dance. You're not trying to catch people who are just like casually scrolling. You are here on a mission. You are here to get your message out. You are here to make an impact. And that's what LinkedIn is built for. So if you are here with a mission, if you are driven, if you're a thinker, you are in the right spot, and you actually do not have to do as much activity as you'd think to make LinkedIn work for you. It's just about aligning those activities, again, with your objectives. So to follow up on our discussion today, I have a really fun bootcamp experience with my online business mentor, Amy Porterfield, that was built to help you start taking action, like we talked about, in a very supportive environment. And it applies to creating your first online course. So if you're curious about building a course, maybe you've been thinking about LinkedIn from that perspective. How could LinkedIn work together to help you build out a revenue stream? You will really enjoy this bootcamp experience. If you've been trying to put together your strategy to create a successful business, or maybe you've been on the fence about leaving your 9 to 5 and want to start a side hustle and use LinkedIn to get the word out, you'll really enjoy joining me inside Amy's private live community called Course Confident. I will actually put a link to it down below, so you can look below this video and check it out. I'm really excited to be a part of it this time around. Amy's program actually really helped me create my first course. If any of you are familiar, I have a program called the LinkedIn Accelerator. That is a direct result of going through Amy's training. So she helped me to put that together, figure out how to launch it, what I should do to market it. And I just love the way and her style of teaching that makes it super, super simple and step by step. So I will put the link to that below if you are curious. And for those of you who will be here next week, I am excited about next week's topic on Mondays with Mindy. We are going to have a really exciting discussion about 5 steps that you can take now to start building your confidence on LinkedIn. This was a topic that came up from a number of people who went through the LinkedIn Accelerator. And they said, Mindy, can you please talk about getting confident on LinkedIn? It was a common theme. Everybody was there because they felt a little lack of confidence. So I really want you to start approaching LinkedIn from a place of power, from a place of feeling confident, and really get your message out there. So that's what we're talking about next week. In the meantime, feel free to add your questions or comments below, and I will see you then. Bye.